under coach you, man. We're not gonna dream. With Steve Cully's guidance, we'll take the lead. On the field, we're unstoppable. We're never beat. In the stands, the crowd's alive, cheering for UConn. They won't give up the fight. From the first pitch to the final out, we're Husky Hardball, we've got the power. Husky Hardball the call, let's hear it for the team. Under coach you, man, we're not gonna dream. With Steve Cully's guidance, we'll take the lead. On the field, we're unstoppable, we're never beat.
All right, and here we are for Husky Hardball. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. And with me, as always, the icon, legendary voice of the Huskies, the best of the best, Mr. Joe D'Ambrosio. Joe.
Good morning.
Great to see you. Great to see you. We had a little bit of a challenging week, I would say, for UConn baseball, which was interesting to see. But I first wanted to get your thoughts on the transfer that UConn landed coming in from Duke. I thought that was pretty impressive that they got him.
Well, they got a transfer from Seton Hall, a big man. They got a 6'8" kid from Duke who was stuck behind Cameron Boozer there. Mullins agreed to come back. They're still waiting on Solo Ball. They lost Jalen Stewart. I don't understand all the gnashing of teeth. He was never consistent. He never put two good games back and forth, back to back. So, he wants more playing time. I guess Georgetown is interested in him. That's fine. If he goes somewhere else and is great, then, good for him. Everybody says he's a great kid and stuff. They just couldn't find her. But all this gnashing of teeth over losing Jalen Stewart, I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, that's ridiculous. And I mean, I do hope he goes somewhere and plays well.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been given chances. He just wasn't the guy. He was a role player.
Well, he was probably given. He wasn't probably given as much chance as he thought he was going to get.
Correct.
That's probably what it was. So
correct. I apologize. I didn't know anything about Solo Ball. What's the decision with him?
Whether to transfer or not.
Oh, he entered the portal. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't know that. Okay. And then the same thing with Demery.
Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I never saw it where officially, but I guess he hasn't reached a decision. I mean, maybe he's thinking of the NBA, which would be, come on, stop.
No.
Same as Demery. Come on.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And after looking at some of the past UConn guys, Liam McNeely in the G League. I mean, if he's in the G League, he was more productive. I mean, he had a different skill set, but I would be surprised to see those guys go. So that
we know Demery's not. I mean, Ball's the only question, and they still have some work to do. They still have to bring in another big man. Yeah. The Hines kid from Seton Hall is not going to carry the load by himself. But if they do if Solo comes back and they bring in a decent backup to Hines, then they could be set up to be really, really good again.
The other question I got was about the women's team not being active in the transfer portal. I haven't seen anything. Do you know if they brought anyone in? No, I didn't see anything either.
There hasn't been an announcement or anything yet. So no, I don't think they have.
Yeah, that was
I'm sure they will. It's still early. You don't have to. You still got a couple of weeks to decide if you're going to bring somebody in or not. But they haven't brought anybody in yet. And look, they bring back a really good nucleus. All they're missing from last year really are AZ and Sarah Williams. I mean, Caroline Ducharme didn't hardly play because of her injuries and stuff. And then everybody else who left, it's like, okay, fine, see you. graduating and stuff. Anna Patterson never played.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're bringing a couple of players in to supplement Sarah Strong and beyond and Blanca and KK. I know Maria thinks they need another guard. I'm not so sure they go in that direction. I think they think that the KK and Heckle are a good pair of point guards.
Yeah, she mentioned that, they need another big, so that's why because the portal is shorter this year. That's why they changed it. So that's why there was some concern. So our Huskies, Hooksy went to Boston.
Let me interrupt you for a minute. Schumann sent us a text this morning. That's pure satire.
Yes, yes, it was.
The guy who's puts on his X account that everything he does is satire.
Yeah, thank you, Chris D. We appreciate it. What
did the genius say?
Well, he would like to know, does Hooksy having its two worst seasons the last 2 years suggest Penders is struggling with roster construction, NIL, and the portal transfer in the portal era?
No.
And
try to win in the Northeast, Christy, and see how you do.
And
BC is having an exceptional year, and they've really struggled in the past. And everybody else is.
Yeah,
it is what it is. No, it's not. It doesn't prove that Coach Penders is struggling. That's moronic.
And the women bring back the nucleus, and last year, and Sarah and AZ never stepped up, and they never got any help. So
Sarah didn't step up.
No. He felt like they had to do everything. Nobody else stepped up to help them.
I wouldn't say nobody. I wouldn't say nobody stepped up. I wouldn't say Blanca Quinones didn't.
No, she did
not step up. So I mean, he just throws crap up against the wall.
I think he was really disappointed at the South Carolina game that we only scored 48 points.
Well, South Carolina's getting paid too, Chris. I know that's hard for you to believe.
No, he does. And he had said something about Gino, and he thought that maybe he's losing his fire because
it looked like he was losing his fire in the South Carolina. Let's not. Steve,
I know.
Let me just tell you this.
I got you.
You waste way too much time on this guy's bullshit.
I got you.
Okay,
I got you.
That's it. I'm done with it. I'm not addressing anything he says anymore.
I got you. So we dropped the midweek contest that we talked about, the rematch against Boston College, 8-5 on Wednesday. That was a tough one. We were hoping to get them back, but obviously it wasn't a conference game. Another guy, Cam Riggy has been playing very well. He had an RBI triple that put us up 3-2. And he finished again. It was the 11th time he's had a multi-hit game. But what happened again? I mean, the big BC had a 3-run home run in the 5th inning, I believe, that put the lead up to tied the game 7th. That tied the game 5-5, and then they scored 3 in the bottom of the half frame and held
they had
on.
A 2-run home. The Wang kid who kills UConn had a 2-run homer in the 7th to put him up 7-5.
Oh, put him up 7-5. Okay. I thought it tied it, but yeah, and then they scored 3 more runs.
No, they didn't. They scored 1 more run.
Okay. So that made it 8-5 after the 2-run home run. Okay. I was reading it wrong. But again, the pitching seems to be, again, another issue with this. They were playing well throughout, and then they gave it up late. It was one of the Peytons that came in. I can't remember who it was.
No, it wasn't Peyton. It was Joe Tallarico and Rob Gilchrist.
It was Gilchrist that came in. But again, I mean, the run support has got to be more than 5. And to not be able to close out these games and rely on the bullpen. I know that, like you said, they're saving their better pitchers for the weekend, especially for the St. John's game.
Well,
So,
they saved the. They didn't pitch a regular starter. Charlie Hale's
no,
been the midweek starter, and he
right,
only went 2 innings. They
right.
did try to. They did try to put the fire out by bringing Greg Shaw the third in, and
Shaw, yep.
he walked a couple of batters and gave up a run. So yeah, I mean, it's a midweek game, and look, let's
It's not
not.
a conference.
Well, and let's not. BC's having a hell of a year.
Yeah,
So
they're
let's
really
let
good.
they're not losing to Little Sisters of the Poor when they lose
No.
to BC. BC's having its best baseball season in forever.
Right.
So
I mean, they're 28-12. I mean,
yeah, in the ACC.
in the ACC, which is pretty impressive because they play good baseball. But yeah, I was really surprised at the number of pitchers that they used.
Not unusual in a midweek game. No, not at all.
It's because they want to get guys work, correct?
Well, no, it's because he wanted to win. He wanted to win.
Okay.
He wanted to win without using his big four. I mean, the three weekend starters didn't pitch, and Paxton Myers didn't pitch. So
Right.
he was trying to. So Jimmy and Josh McDonald, Jimmy Penders, who according to Chris D is losing it, and Josh McDonald, who's as good a pitching coach as there is in the country, they tried to piece it together, and it was working fine till Gilchrist and Shaw gave up the 3 runs in the seventh inning.
Yeah. And it was good to see Maddox Delana. He had a better game.
Well, he's moved up in the order. And when we get to it, I mean, he's been batting. He was batting 6th over the weekend. So yeah,
correct.
he's starting to come out of it. That's good to see that lengthens the lineup. Rispoli had a good weekend. So yeah, I mean, it's a midweek loss. Look, this team's not going to the NCAAs unless they win the Big East tournament.
Yeah,
so
I know.
all this midweek stuff is
the non-conference stuff isn't nearly as important. But
well,
again,
no, you gotta make sure you're in the top 4 in the Big East, and right now they're not.
No, they're not at all. Which is very disappointing. And again, the Cam Riggy has just been astounding so far this year. I've been so impressed with him as a true freshman to be able to come in and play as well as he has. And he's a local kid. I think that's such a good pickup for UConn. And he's been consistent, and it's good to see. So we had started out, and I just want to make sure I have it accurate.
Don't worry, I'll correct you.
We were shut out the first game 4-0.
Oh, we've moved on to St. John's already, so I can close the PC box.
Yeah.
The kid for St. John's pitched a hell of a game in the opener. So, I mean that happens.
Yeah. I mean, were you surprised that we were not able to get any run production in that first game?
Well, yeah, because look at how many times have they been shut out this year? I don't think many.
We haven't been shut out at all. Yeah, I don't recall.
Yeah, so give Liam O'Leary credit. I mean, he gave up 4 hits, didn't walk anybody, hit a batter, struck out 2. So UConn only had 7 base runners. And Charlie West wasn't awful, but he had to be almost perfect to win that game. St. John's came into the weekend leading the conference.
Yes.
So, give them credit. See, sometimes in baseball, you tip your hat to the other pitcher. It's not always what you're doing offensively. Sometimes the pitcher has a lot to do with it.
And they're 6-1 in the conference. We're now 6-4 in the conference. Traditionally, is St. John's up there in the Big East? Is one of they are. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And where do they get most of their players from? Do they get most of in-state or Jersey?
I'm sure it's the tri-state area. I'm not.
Yeah.
I could do a little quick research on that, but yeah, I think it's mainly the tri-state area. But I mean, it's all changed. From what they did, from what teams did 10 years ago to what they do now is completely different. So
it was tough to start off with a shutout loss, but as you said, I mean, Liam O'Leary pitched a phenomenal game. He moved to 5-3. Charlie West took the loss, going 3-4, and it's not like he pitched horrible. 8
No, but
innings.
he had to be almost perfect.
Exactly. When you're playing a team like St. John's, you have to be almost perfect to get the victory. Now, the second and third games were double headers, I believe.
A doubleheader, yes, because of the forecast for Sunday.
Okay.
Both baseball and softball changed the schedule to be doubleheaders on Saturday.
So again, I mean, it was a close one. We took the loss 6-5 in the first game. And again, it was St. John's scoring 3 runs in the 9th inning.
It was the bullpen. The bullpen struggled that day.
Yeah.
You know, you turn over, you score 2. Belisario gets a big hit in the 8th, and you take a 5-3 lead. And you figure with Shaw the third and Myers, you're going to close the game down. And St. John's, to their credit, had a rally, and the relievers couldn't get the job done.
And Caden Suki pitched very well.
Again.
He has been on fire. I mean, 7 1/3, 2 earned runs, and he struck out 10. I mean, I think the last 2 games he's had double-digit strikeouts, and the other one last week was a complete game as well.
Yeah. By the way, it looks like a lot of the St. John's players are from the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area.
That's what I figured.
They do have a couple sprinkled. I mean, the names are on the roster. I don't know which of these kids play and which don't, but yeah, I mean, you know, they're not getting a million kids from California, but they're not getting none either. So,
and I mean, you're right about Maddox Nolena. I mean, he moved up. He's been hitting pretty well. He scored 2 runs. He was 1 for 2 in this game, which was good. And Nader Wachter was 2 for 4. He scored 2 runs. And, you know, it was Palomani was 1 for 5. And Riggi was 1 for 4. Marshall was 2 for 5. And Minnick was 1 for 4. So they did what they could against a really good team. And again, you know, you can't have those mistakes in pitching. You have to be able to rely on your bullpen, and usually you can. Shaw is typically the guy that is very, very dependable, and Myers, I mean, I know his record doesn't look it, but he's pretty good also when he comes in relief. My question again, Sean Finn.
Obviously we don't see him, so he's either hurt or they don't trust him. He might be hurt. I mean, that's I don't know. But look, when he's pitched, he hasn't been great, and he hasn't pitched for a while. So that makes me think that there's something going on with his arm.
Yeah. So I mean, they took that loss, and then they came back to shut out St. John's in the final game with our man Oliver Pudvar pitching, and he did very well. He goes 7 innings, 6 hits, no runs, two strikeouts, and he.
Well, what's the most important number in that line, Steve? For Pudvar?
The walks. He didn't walk anyone.
Right, exactly. You don't give Peeps free 90s. You have a better chance to succeed, and he had great control in that game.
Yeah.
And it's easier to pitch, and also it's easier to pitch with a lead.
Much easier when you're pitching with a lead. They held out Palomani this game, must have given him the day off. But again, Cam Riggi, 1 for 2, 3 runs scored. Belisario played in place of him.
Belisario,
3 for 4, scored 3 runs. Jackson Marshall, 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. Nader Wachter had an RBI. Maddox Delana, again, he was 2 for 2, scored 2 runs and an RBI. Minnick DH'd, he was 1 for 4. And then Rispoli was 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs. So my question is, do you see Rispoli or Menzel moving up the order at all, or they're happy with the way things are with the production they're getting?
Well, Palomeni got the day off because he's been in a hideous slump. He's 3 for his last 27. So obviously the decision was to give him the second game off, and Belsario had played in the opener, so they just moved him up in the order, and he had a big day. But I think Palomeni, if I'm sure Belsario will get the start tomorrow night against Rhode Island because he comes off having such a good game. As you said, they hit the ball. They had 13 hits. They only left 6 men on base in 6 at bats, which is better than it has been. They did it on 12 singles, only 1 extra base hit.
No extra base.
And they only took 4 walks. So I mean, they manufactured runs, which is what they didn't do the rest of the weekend. So you get the good pitching, and you take advantage of the other team's number 3 starter and their bullpen, and you salvage a series win, and the weekend doesn't look as bad as it does if you get swept.
Correct. I mean, they had their starting pitcher out after 2 innings. They went to their bullpen and they couldn't stop them. So again, I mean, do you think it just shows we have legitimate offensive talent that can explode and score runs?
No, it just shows the inconsistency. Some days they do, some days they don't. I mean,
that's the biggest thing.
That's just you need consistency, especially on the weekends. You gotta, this is all about conference play, because as I said, you're not getting an at-large berth the way the year has gone.
No, not at all. Are there any tactical changes that the team could make right now that would help them?
What kind of changes?
Tactical, like either with the lineup or changing.
No, they've already mixed the lineup a little bit by moving Delana up and dropping Rispoli down. I don't know. There's not lineup. There's not. It's if the guys were going to be in the lineup, they'd be in the lineup by now.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
You can tinker with a little here or there, but you're 2/3 of the way through the season. You're not making massive lineup changes. You're not making any changes to the pitching rotation. It is what it is. I'm sure you'll see West tomorrow to start off against Rhode Island. Then you'll see a bunch of guys after that, because you want to have West available to back up a starter if they get in trouble at Georgetown.
Yeah, I mean, you're 21-20, so you're absolutely right. I mean, this is a team that has played 41 games, so you know what you have, and there's not a lot. It's not like football where you can do different things offensively or defensively to make adjustments. And you've seen the potential of the players, and I think like you said specifically, it's consistency.
I think it's more consistency in the pitching staff than the hitting.
Yes.
I mean, they got shut out a game, but they got 5 games in game 2, in game 2 of the series, which would have been good enough to win, except the bullpen didn't hold on.
Which would have been huge to take the series against St. John's. It's the first Big East series that we have lost.
Right.
But our overall record now in the Big East, I believe, is 6-6. So that is not
7-5.
It is 7-5. Okay, that's right, 7-5 because of the doubleheader. Is there any one of the pitchers that you see emerging that they could use more midweek?
No, I think the midweek rotate. I think that what they do midweek has been pretty well established. Yeah. What you're doing in midweek is trying to see if guys can step up, and you might be able to use them for a batter or an inning or a situation on the weekend.
Yeah, because I remember. They pitched Austin Trumpor a few times, and he got 2 losses. He wasn't great. Tellerico, he was the one who had the 1 win. I think it was 2 weeks ago. So that's why I was just looking at Tristan Ashland also. He pitched one midweek game and he did get a victory. So they have a lot of arms. It's just a matter of who takes that midweek game, because when you have Suki, Pudvar, West Hale, I mean, those are your best guys. Those are the cream of the crop right there.
Those are your starters. Those are your four big starters. So it's not gonna change at this point of the season.
So for their schedule this week, they'll play a midweek game and the weekend games. Is it always set in stone that Pudvar and Suki will start on the weekend?
Absolutely. They have all season long.
Okay. So then they probably would go with, West, if they could, midweek.
West pitches the Friday games. The rotation's been the same, Steve. There hasn't been any changes. West pitches Friday,
3 games. That's
pitches
right.
Saturday, and Pudvar pitches Sunday.
I'm thinking of Hale. Then I'm thinking of Hale.
Well, I'm sure I'm sure you could see Hale. So
yeah, Hale could be the midweek guy, and the hitting looks to have improved. At least Maddox Delana has been much better. He's improved his average from 213 to 240. And then you got Rispoli, Minnick, Wachter, all have improved, except for Minnick. And then you're right about Palomani. He dropped significantly. And now it's Jackson Marshall and Cam Riggy leading the team hitting-wise. So Palomani's the one, like you said, that's got to break out of the drought he's in, the slump. I mean, he was batting close to 400, and he is down to 314. So that's interesting to see. And it was good to see the improvement by Delana. I'm surprised that Minnick has dropped as much as he has, and he hasn't had the power that he typically does. Only 4 home runs, 26 RBIs. Does that surprise you a little bit? Because he was really the MVP and the power hitter. He knocked in runs, and it could be the health issue as well.
Well, he came back from an injury, and maybe he wasn't 100%. Again, not being around baseball, I don't know the answer to that. But you'd like to see more from Tyler going down the stretch. It would make it put your chances of getting into the Big East tournament easier. Now, look, the rest of the schedule, they play teams below them in the Big East standings: Georgetown, Seton Hall, Villanova. Yeah, they're all below them, but that doesn't mean that the other team doesn't have a pitcher or two who could step up and have big weekends.
They get coached too. So we have Rhode Island Tuesday, and they play in Hartford.
They play a game in Hartford every year, Steve. It's not breaking news.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry. What field is it? Is it where the minor league team plays?
The Hartford Yard Goats, yep.
Yeah, okay. No, I apologize. I didn't know that they played at Hartford. I think that's really cool. What do you expect from them against Rhode Island?
Well, who knows? Rhode Island's struggling. They're not having a very good year. 15-23, though they're 9-9. In the Atlantic 10, which is ranked even lower than the Big East in the RPI.
Right. Wow.
So, Rhode Island, it's always a competitive game when these two teams play. They play every year. Sometimes they play sometimes they play twice a year. I don't think they are this season. No, they're not. No. So, again, you can't predict what's going to happen in baseball because you don't know how good the pitching's going to be. If all things were equal, UConn wins. But if they're not, then maybe it doesn't happen that way.
And then obviously we go to Georgetown for a series, and that is one that hopefully we would be able to take. That would be big for us to get 3 conference victories and take a series against Georgetown. Like you said, when you look at the remaining schedule, we play Rutgers midweek, then East Tennessee State for a series. That's an interesting one for an out of conference. And then it's just, is it because for the Big East, as far as baseball goes, we don't have a ton of conference teams?
Yeah, there's everybody gets a weekend off from conference play. Well, it'd have to be 2 weekends off, or 2
Right.
teams would have to get a weekend off. So I'm sure there's some connection between Jim and their coach, or maybe they just reached a agreement
Right.
on bringing East Tennessee State up. But yeah, I mean, I think that's always good to in that, it's been Rutgers for a weekend in the past. It's been other teams for a weekend. It's home, which is good. I'm sure that was a factor. I'm sure,
Yes.
they didn't want to get on a plane and go somewhere and
No.
play.
No.
So,
and absolutely now, I mean, with 41 games in and looking at the rest of the schedule, there has to
by the
be
way, East Tennessee State, 25-12, 98th in the RPI. UConn's 101st. So they're not, dogs aren't coming up.
Jeez. So there has to be a real sense of urgency now with the remaining schedule, with the record they have, to try to win the Big East. They really have to get rolling.
Well, you got to get in the tournament first. You can't win the Big East unless you get in
without being in the tournament. Correct.
If you look at the standings, and if you think, let's say they go 6-3 the rest of the way, they've got 9 conference games remaining, and they go 12-8. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's good enough to get in. Butler's got 12 conference games left. St. John's
my God, look at this.
And Creighton have only played 9 league games. So
look at this. We have a special appearance. By Coach.
What's going on, gentlemen?
Just living the dream, Shu.
It's so good to see your face, Joe. Cully, I don't know if it's good to see yours, but it's great to see Joe's. It's good to see yours,
Joe's.
It's good to see you.
Same to you, Coach. Same to you.
I completely agree. So yeah, I mean, it's Villanova, it's Georgetown, and Seton Hall. So if they can take all 3 of those, they're still not in the best shape for the Big East tournament.
Well, I don't know what the other teams' schedule are, and again, in baseball, it's just hard to. You can't project.
You can't project baseball. Yeah,
it's a lot harder to project baseball than it is football or basketball.
I can't believe East Tennessee State has that record.
Why? Why can't you believe it?
The South, baby.
I've never heard of them. I've never heard of them.
They've never heard of you either, I'm sure. So
no, they haven't heard of me.
This, and it's not just you, but I'm going to pick on you here.
Please do.
This idea that if just because we haven't heard of a school means they don't have good athletics is bullshit.
No, I mean I've heard of them football wise. I have not heard of baseball. That's all. I was just surprised by that, and I was just taking
8-4 in the Southern Conference, 25-12 overall. No, I'm sure they're not. I'm sure their non-conference schedule isn't, or maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't looked at it. And by the way, this just in, the Southern Conference's RPI as a league is 7th. The Big East is 15th.
That's because it's the South baseball, man.
Yes. I know. Sure, you're preaching to the choir. I'm just trying to educate Cully here.
I was just wondering because if like Davidson's in that conference, that's what I was thinking when you said the Southern Conference.
No, Davidson's not in that conference.
Okay. You were looking at it. Do you know of any of the other teams that are in it, the Southern?
Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
Furman. Isn't that Furman? And
Yeah, I was just curious.
Not in baseball.
Oh, not in baseball. Furman is it? Okay.
There's only 7 schools in
the
there's
Southern.
only 8 schools in Woolford, East Tennessee State, Western Carolina, Samford, Mercer, the Citadel, VMI, and North Carolina Greensboro.
Okay.
Oh, that conference has changed a little bit over time.
Well, there's a lot of, like, I know Chattanooga doesn't have baseball, and I don't think Furman has baseball.
Okay.
I mean, that's a.
I wonder if those schools did they become a product of kind of Title IX, where they just didn't have the ability to
maybe. I don't know. That's a good
match with football and stuff.
Yeah.
Match all.
Baseball. I mean, look at Providence. Providence doesn't have baseball, right? Marquette doesn't have baseball.
No.
And there's one other team in our league. If there's only 8 teams in our conference that have baseball, I'm missing one here. I can't think off the top of my head, but I think that's a big thing. I think that's probably the reason why.
Right?
Right.
You kind of have to pick and choose what you want to do, and on the men's side, sports wise.
Well, the good part is, I mean, UConn did get a big donation, and it was split up. And I know baseball got a decent chunk from it. Men's and women's basketball, football, hockey, and baseball, I believe, were the recipients of the donation. So that was good. That was good to see. They
got 2 big donations. Rob Skinner and his wife ponied up, and Tony Rizza gave more money. So
I was talking. Skinner was the one I had heard about. What was the one from Tony? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that one.
15 million.
Okay. All right, then it must have been him. He was the bigger one that they.
Well, Skinner was similar amount.
Skinner was 23 million, which I think, if my math skills are right, is more than 15 million.
There you go.
So I was wrong. I knew there was a 15 million that got split up. I didn't know about the 23. So that's huge for us. That's a great job for fundraising. And I know that they split it up pretty well in baseball, got a nice chunk of it. And I was talking to Chris Stasitis, my good friend, and he said baseball isn't even fully funded for the scholarships because the scholarship limit increased, and we do not have enough full scholarships. We split up a bunch of the money to make up for it.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Chris is right.
Yeah, because I think baseball, did they go to 30? It went to, everything increased, I remember, and baseball was one of them. So that's, again, another thing UConn is up against. They're doing this, and they're not even fully funded with scholarships. So
if UConn's not fully funded, do you think Villanova is? Do you think St. John's is? No, of course not.
I think they could be because they don't have football. That would be my only.
That's a very fair point.
Yeah,
that's my only thing.
That's a really fair point.
Everyone assumed that the Big East would become dominant in football in basketball because none of the teams have football, which isn't exactly true. Villanova has football. We have football, even though we're an independent. Georgetown has football, even though it's not on scholarship. But that's why they were fearful with all this money, because you're talking about schools that don't have football. They thought they could raise more money and be more successful. That was what I was reading about. So I don't see that to be true. And Coach Schumann, we verified that the post about Coach Hurley was inaccurate. Yeah.
Okay.
Satire. Yeah, the guy's Twitter handle says everything he does is satire. So
okay.
Yeah. So thank you for. I almost gave Mike Burton a heart attack this morning, so I appreciate it.
Let me give you a piece of advice.
I did send it to you with zero. I did send it with zero context, by the way. It wasn't. I didn't send it saying, "Oh, this is what's happening." I did said it with zero context.
No, I know. I just asked.
I would never jump on anything without looking at it yourself.
I
You know
did.
what I mean?
I did try looking it up, and I didn't.
Oh,
see
you did?
Wow, look at your hair.
Whose hair?
Your hair's done up all nice. It's slicked back.
Sure as hell isn't mine. That's for sure.
So Joe, I just want to ask you this because Sean Mulcahy and I were debating this last night.
Okay.
The New York Giants traded Dexter Lawrence. We were shocked that they got a first-round draft pick.
Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out would be my thought.
Well, now they have the 5th and the 10th pick. Do you think that they would? We both think that they should trade the 5th pick. Do you think they should trade the 5th pick, or?
Well, it depends what they're looking for. If they want a running back, then no. I'd take the Notre Dame kid at the 5th.
Yeah,
pick.
that's what's projected.
That's what's high. But that's high. Now with the 10th pick, maybe you can get a wideout. You know, maybe you can.
That's what I want.
Strengthen. You're obviously going to need D linemen.
Yeah.
Getting rid of Lawrence, but he was underpredicted. He was
he was a cone last year. I mean, he
underperformed the last couple of years. Yeah, he was a big orange cone. So I don't.
That's the worst thing you could be called in football, a cone.
He really was. I mean, I watched him. It looked like he would rather have been anywhere else than on the football field. So now we debated that as well. I don't think taking Jeremiah Love at the 5th spot is a great move for them. I mean, we have Cam, we have Tracy, Singleton coming back.
You need a dynamic running back, Steve. They're all plotters.
You don't think Cam?
No, Cam Scatterable will be out of the league in 5 years.
Oh, okay. I thought they got a steal with him. And I do think they should take Tate.
Well, they did because he was a later pick. I mean, that anytime you get a later pick that produces, you know. But he got hurt, didn't he?
Yeah, he got hurt. But I mean, I want to give Jackson Dart weapons, so I think Tate would be a good pick. But if you look at the draft class overall, isn't great. So I was hoping we were talking about them trading back, but in the likelihood they traded Lawrence, they got this pick. In your best opinion, do you think that they'll keep it?
Yeah, I think they'll keep the 5th pick. This guy on ESPN has him going linebacker at 5 and safety at 10.
Yeah, the safety from Ohio State. Yeah.
Caleb Downs, yeah.
He's great athlete.
He's got Tate going 6 to Cleveland and Love going 7 to the Commandos.
Okay. Because I read a couple where Love was projected for the Giants. We wanted the linebacker as well because Bobby was left. So that's why I was curious. And then
Bobby was shown the door. I don't think Bobby left that.
I know. I thought that was a terrible move. And Abdul Carter's got to step up. And
I think he will. I think he'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about him.
They brought him along slow, and they've done a good job with that.
Well, he brought himself along slow too by not being, by being a bit of a screw up.
Yeah, he didn't make things easy. I definitely agree with that. And then just the Uconn guys. Right now, Skylar Bell is projected as a 4th-round pick. And Joey Bag of Donuts is the 7th-round pick for the Cardinals. We were talking about that. And usually, if there's a run on a certain position, and I think there'll be a run on receivers this year, that could elevate Bell. I think he could be a 3rd-round pick, maybe even a high 2nd.
I don't know. Not at all. He's not going in the 2nd round.
You think he's 3rd, 4th round? That's the best.
Well, this ESPN prognostication again. Mock drafts are fun to talk about. Has him going 80th to the Ravens in round 3, where he can go with.
They did. Okay, all right. That's not
as far as Joey Bag of Donuts, he's got him as a UFA.
Okay. The Athletic Academy is a late 7th round.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
It's
Well,
like you
look,
said, it doesn't matter.
it's like Shu has said in the past. I mean, if he's a 7th round pick, he's going to make the team. If he's a UFA, maybe he's a practice squad guy because everybody needs at least 3 quarterbacks, and that's what most of them have is 3 quarterbacks. So, and it's got to be the right situation, right, Shu? I mean, he's got to go to a place where he'll get coached up. He'll become better. And you know what? Good. I think he's probably got a chance to stick somewhere.
Yeah, and I mean, I still think if it's a 7th round pick or a free agent, I like the free agent where you can control where you're going. But
it all depends on who takes him. I think the big thing for him is, more than likely your best chance of sticking is if you mirror the starting quarterback as far as traits. Because that means that if he goes down, you can get elevated. So even if you're a practice squad guy, you know what I mean? So that's usually like the best scenario for a quarterback, mirror some of the traits of the
absolutely.
The team you go to, right? Because
so you're saying if he goes to the Ravens, it's not a good fit.
He's going to get cut. He's probably going to get cut, unless. Well, the only thing the Ravens could be different for one reason: if they know he won't get elevated ever to. If he went to the Ravens, he'll never get elevated as a 53-man roster guy because he doesn't mirror Lamar, but he could be valuable on the practice squad because they need someone to practice other quarterbacks, right?
Yes, so exactly.
So he'd probably be stuck in practice squad land there, but doesn't mean he wouldn't probably would make the practice squad, but he wouldn't have a chance to be elevated if he was there. But usually you got a mirror to be elevated, I think. But
all right. So Joe, this week, who would you say had the best offensive performance?
For UConn? Are we back to baseball?
Yeah.
Oh, I've logged off all my baseball stuff. I mean, Marshall's always good. I think for what we've seen from the past, I think Belisario had a good last couple of games.
I think he did too
against St. John's, and I think Delana and Riggy. I mean, Riggy's been, Riggy. I don't know this. I'm just talking off the top of my head, much like Chris D always does. But Riggy might be a candidate for Big East Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
And I mean, with Connor Lane done, unfortunately, never to. If he comes back, supposedly he's going to come back as a reliever. I just heard that whole story this week, and it's out publicly, and it's awful.
Can you elaborate?
He suffered a serious eye injury in the batting cages.
Oh, Jesus!
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's what happened.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think, from what I was told, I don't think he'll be able to ever catch again. And I think as far as he might, he was a pretty good reliever in high school baseball, so maybe he'll try to come back as a pitcher. So it's up to Riggy and Torado to carry the catch. And
Riggy's a big dude for a catcher.
He struggled a little bit in the opening game on Saturday against St. John's. Had a pass ball, maybe 2, but I think Riggy's been really good. I think Marshall's been really good.
Marshall's been excellent.
Yeah, I think Wachter's been real. I mean, we talk about losing their touch in the transfer portal. Well, they got Marshall from a D3 school.
Absolutely.
So,
And then the single best pitching performance would probably have to be Pudvar in the final game.
Oh, this weekend, yeah. Although Suki was good.
Suki had a good performance. Suki.
So, I mean, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the biggest question heading into this week is it consistency or pitching depth?
I think it's the bullpen.
Yeah.
I think it's the bullpen because your starter's not always going to give you 9, and your bullpen's got to be able to bail you out. I mean, that's why having Hale available as a middle guy if your starter gets in trouble is so important.
Yeah.
That's a crazy. I'm just reading this. That's a crazy, crazy thing that happened.
Yeah.
He fouled off a ball that went straight back into his own eye.
Yeah.
That has to be incredibly rare.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Fouling it into yourself. That's awful. I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off before, Joe. You were talking about.
No, that's fine. That's all right. So yeah, I mean, I think it's the bullpen. I think your starters will be fine. They've been fine all year, but I think that it's it's just a matter of the bullpen being able to back the guys up and being able to get hits with 2 outs and moving runners along.
In scoring position.
Marshall's not going to homer every game. Riggy's not going to homer every game. They're not Aaron Judge or Mike Trout, so or Ben Rice or gentle Ben Rice, but.
And I'll give you the last word. What are your thoughts on the New York Mets and their slide?
Oh, I'm really heartbroken about that. It's so disappointing to see a team that's had so much success since 1986 just have such a tough stretch like this. Mets fans are, and this is going to piss people off, but I could care. Mets fans are a lot like Jets fans. They talk a lot, man, and they haven't done anything in forever. I mean, they've done more than the Jets have, but it's by a very thin margin. So, and
they've sure spent a lot more too.
And teams that have lost. There's been 3 teams in baseball history that have had an 11-game losing streak and made the playoffs. There's been none that have had a 12-game losing streak and made the playoffs. So
right.
So Dave, what do you think happens in the draft on Thursday after Carlos Mendoza goes first to the Raiders?
Who goes next?
Yeah, what do you think?
Mendoza, yeah.
I know it's Fernando Mendoza. Thanks, Steve. I was making a little Mets play there. I'll send you the jokes ahead of time.
You know what?
You can follow along.
It could be. Well, the highest rated guys are Mendoza, Bailey, the offensive tackle from Miami. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Yeah,
he's a freak. Reese, obviously, Love, Downs. Those are the big guys, and then I don't know. I'm not sure about Ruben Bain. Like, everyone loves him.
Yeah,
he's a top 10, but like I don't know exactly where he fits. Sonny Styles maybe could slide up. He's so fast.
Yeah.
Carnell Tate. It's amazing how many Ohio State guys. Carnell Tate could slide up.
Well, and then considering they didn't do anything in the playoffs, and they have all these guys that are going top 20 in the draft. I mean,
they have 1, 2, 3, 4 that could go top 10. Could it depending on fit? You know what I mean? But who's the second? Who has the second pick?
The Jets. Jets.
Jets.
I for the Jets brass here.
I thought they
so.
Were
are the Jets? Are the Jets going to take a DN like Bailey?
That's why I thought they would go with an edge like Bailey.
They better not take Ruben Bain.
There's just not there's not a quarterback availue unless
if they take Ruben Bain, if they should take Bailey because he's more of a true fit. They take Ruben Bain, and if instead of Bailey, they won't know what to do with him exactly. And if they don't have a plan of what to do with him, knowing the Jets, even though the player could be great, down the line, he would end up being a bust for the Jets. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, of course.
I think they should take a guy that fits a position well, that could come right in. And that to me would be, if you're going to take a DN, take Bailey. If they're going to take an offensive lineman, I don't know if that's a big thing. Then they should take the kid from Miami.
I think you should take Reese. Arvell Reese.
Yeah, the outside linebacker?
He's an edge, yeah.
The kid from Ohio State. I think it's either Reese or Bailey I don't see him going
Yeah.
offensive line there. And I think when they go 16th, I think they might go a wide receiver.
I
Pick up a
don't
wide
know.
receiver.
I don't know how you don't take. I mean, what did? Well, I'm just trying to. Oh wow, his numbers are great too. Reese has 4.6 also. Jesus, these guys are so fast. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, some people have Jeremiah Love going to the Giants. I don't like that. The corner from LSU is in the top 10. Tate.
Reese is a little longer than Bailey is.
Right. Yes.
Bailey's.
I like Reese. I've seen.
What's the Jets front? I don't remember what their front is style, but they must be a 3, right?
Yeah,
so they're 3. Then maybe Reese could be. Reese originally was rated, I think, ahead of Bailey, but I don't know. Bailey somehow has moved. I have no idea why. They both their numbers are almost mirrors of each other in the combine. They're like almost mirror.
Yeah, if you're the Jets, you better get it right.
Yes, I'm saying
I don't know if there's. Or you won't be making the pick in the 27 draft.
Well, I mean, I can't remember who they have for quarterback either.
Geno Smith.
The Jets just got a Geno Smith.
They traded for Geno Smith and they cut their Fields. That's right. That's fine.
The Fields experiment was idiotic.
I just can't believe guys like Justin Fields and Kenny Pickett, 2 first-round picks, cannot make it through their rookie contract with one team. They've all been with multiple teams throughout.
I've watched Fields in camp. Okay,
Fields is
he will not throw the football.
No.
It's not that he's looking to run. Okay, it's not like he can run. Obviously, he will not get rid of the football.
No.
Whatever. When you watch quarterbacks, like you could watch these guys pretty quickly, okay? And you could immediately when I went to the Jets-Giants scrimmage thing. Obviously, Russell Wilson's a little like older, but you could see immediately like he makes a decision, he goes with it. Jackson Dart, same kind of thing. Fields was holding the ball. I mean, believe me, he looks the part more than anybody else.
Yeah,
he looks the part.
I know.
And he's got a cannon. It's not like he doesn't have an arm. He's got a cannon for an arm. He cannot. The decision-making process at quarterback, first of all, it's so difficult. I'm not saying it's easy for any. But at the pro level, the guys who can make that decision, trust themselves, and get rid of the ball.
Well, you have to understand that guys are not going to be as wide open as they were in college. You have to be
1 inch is open. 1 inch.
Yes, that's open. So I think he looks, and he took the league leading number of sacks when he was with the Bears. I think 2 or 3 years ago. It was just insane. And they tried with him.
The hardest thing for a quarterback is if they play on by far the best team. Like, or most of their games, they're just dominating everybody because they're the best team. They don't get touched. And then you draft them and they haven't been touched and they got guys running wide open.
Exactly.
And you think they're really good,
Exactly.
But it's not an exact science. I mean,
I think
every year everybody gets it wrong. So
I think they give up on him too quick.
That's the bottom line. They get it wrong.
I think they give up on him too quick. But Fields, they
definitely give up on him. They don't. There's no development anymore.
They move on.
This is the thing that everybody has to get out of their head. That's why they all go to quarterback coaches, even when they're in the pros and the
personal coaches. Yeah. No, he's absolutely right.
There's no development. There's just no development.
No.
And is it fair to them? No. Would you think there'd be more development, at the professional level? They don't have time.
No, they don't. But that's why I give guys like, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield credit. I mean, they came around with other teams.
They got themselves better.
with better, well, but they also had some weapons around them. They go to these bad teams that don't have a lot of weapons for them. Look at Brock Purdy.
You might have bad. Listen, I'm not saying they're bad coaches because they're in the pros, so obviously they've accomplished a lot, but they may not be good quarterback or developers. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So they could be scheme wise, they could be great.
Yeah.
You know, but if they don't develop the quarterback, you know,
it doesn't
they're
matter.
a disaster. Those guys are a disaster. You know, I mean, listen, you know, I think scheme skill sets are overrated to begin with. Like all of these guys are coming up with pretty good scheme. It's really the feel for when to call a play at the right time. But if you actually know how to develop quarterbacks as a coach in the NFL, those guys have a huge advantage. And I'm sure that the good quarterbacks probably would say the same thing, that there are guys that they go to that they played for that are really good in the NFL, and there are guys that they played for that were like,
that's with Minnesota.
Coach tight ends for 20 years, and all of a sudden thrown at quarterback position, which is what happens all the time, which is crazy.
Yeah. Kevin O'Connell at Minnesota. I mean, he's the quarterback whisperer.
Okay.
Yeah. He did with Sam Darnold. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Is
there a surprise that you think, Joe, that's going to be in the draft that could move up or somebody?
I thought Ty Simpson.
That's what I was looking to see.
I thought Ty Simpson would have been picked higher.
You know what? It's the analysts do such a good job, of figuring out guys. I don't think there's somebody like from 20 down. You know, if they're not ranked in the top 20, I don't think they're moving up into the top 10.
There won't be like a Shedeur Sanders this year who drops to the 5th round.
Well, you never know.
Top 10.
Well, you don't know. You don't know. But yeah, I don't think it's. I think it's pretty buttoned up. I think, you know, but of course, you know, if two teams make a trade, that changes everything. That's the thing. If teams change positions, then all bets are off.
Right.
Last question, Joe. Were you surprised that the Giants got a 1st-round pick for Lawrence?
Well, considering they had to trade him, yeah, I was. But that just proves how desperate Cincinnati is. They found the perfect trade partner, you know, because Cincinnati, I mean, Burrow's window is closing. I mean, you know, so I think I'm not surprised they were able to get a 1st-round pick because they found the right team to deal him to.
Yeah, we were hoping for like a 2nd and a 4th, but we were thrilled that they got a 1st.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So thank you, Joe, again for Husky Hardball, the top analysis and insight for BC in the St. John series. And we'll see what happens this week against Rhode Island and Georgetown. Coach Schumann making an appearance. We appreciate it.
Always a better day when Coach Schumann appears.
The coach.
Always a better day.
That's good.
Steve Cully, best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back.